Welcome to the land of dreams. Can you believe this place? This is heaven. Look, Cobras, Corvettes. Roman, I'm a little...
Nathan, don't pass out, man. Those are aluminum body Cobras. You're going to dent it with your big ass body.
Well, some of these are fiberglass, but they are all legitimate Cobras. I can't. Okay.
Coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. That is a Cobra?
Oh, this is a very special Cobra, folks. This is the FIA Cobra. And guess what? I don't get to drive it. It's raining outside. Yeah! But the good news is we got some great footage and an interesting history coming up on the Fast Lane Car.
I thought it never rained in Southern California.
Shut up.
Now, what makes this company special is that you're actually building real Cobras. You're not building replica Cobras. So how did you manage that?
Well, that's correct. You know, roughly around 2000, we knew that something was going to happen with Carroll once we built a lot of cars. And in 2000, the lawsuit was started against us on the cars. We negotiated with Carroll, and at the end of the lawsuit, he agreed we would then pay him a royalty on all the cars. And all along, we wanted to do that. We appreciated what Carroll had done. He created the car. I mean, if it wasn't for Carroll, the Cobra wouldn't exist. And so we then got a royalty deal with Carroll, and then Carroll looked at it, and he was, in the meantime, trying through Mexico and a couple of different places to build Shelby Cobras, and it didn't work out too successfully. And he approached Jim Price and myself, and we started building the Shelby car, the 4000 series, and well, we probably built 500-600 of them now, and it's just been an incredible ride.
Carroll was racing the 289, and it was the car that was winning everything in the USA. I mean, he'd cleaned up all the tracks. There was nothing to beat him, and he knew he had to go to Europe, and he wanted to take on the Europeans. He wanted to take on the Mitre Ferrari. And he arrived with a little car, and of course the FIA, put threw the rule book at it, and they were going to try and do whatever. And one of the things were it didn't fit the FIA standard trunk suitcase that had to go in the back. So they put it in the back and they pushed it down, and they noticed that it was bumping against it. So eventually Carroll just got the guys to shape the little divots so that the suitcase would fit in. They could close it up, and then they actually physically put bungees around here, mounted them on to hold the trunk to make sure they didn't fly up. Another interesting thing, a lot of people look at that, what would be called a wind deflector or some little frame around the filler cap over here. And most people think, well, that's to stop the gas being fall in the driver. Well, not really. what was happening on the long tracks when they were getting over 140 miles an hour, and the tanks were full, it was actually siphoning the fuel out of the tank and all over the back of the car and all on the. So they full Remington and the guys quickly shaped this, put it on, and it did the job. Worked incredibly.
And why is the speedometer way over there?
Well, he got there, and of course race cars don't need speedometers, but when they got to Europe they said, no, you got to have a speedometer in the car. And he was like, well, what do you need a speedometer for? I got to have a speedometer. Well, out of, call it spite, whatever, just shoved it in the car on the far right-hand side because he knew it wasn't necessary, and that's where it was put.
So it's usable for a passenger, basically.
Oh, yeah.
But not for the driver.
No, definitely not.
And is this something that people like? Do they like this kind of iconic, unusual, interesting?
Well, the FIA was the car that won, known as a USSRC car in the US, and it won most of the races. And this is more races were won in the FIA car than a 427 car. And here we have from Ford, which makes a great installation, crate engine from Ford, the Boss 302 works amazing in here. A lot of guys go more traditional with a Weber setup with the 289, but this is another option for the little car.
How much horsepower?
This engine actually about 450 horsepower, which is more than what they had when they were racing them.
And how heavy is the
car? And it runs on pump gas.
How heavy is the car?
The car weighs in about 2350.
Yeah, so it's a light car, a lot of engine.
Yeah, it's a light car.
So you've got basically a license agreement from Carroll saying that every car you build is an original car, not a replica of the original car.
That's correct.
That's like a continuation of the
super
series.
performance car
Yeah.
is still considered a replica because it's a licensed Shelby product, built on a license to Carroll Shelby. The Shelby Cobra is a completely different car. There's no parts on our Shelby car, apart from the headlights possibly and stuff like that, that is transferable. The Shelby Cobra is unique. It is a round tube frame car. It is the Shelby body. It's the Shelby interior. The seats are different. The gauges are different. All the suspension parts are different. The differential's different. Everything is brand new on the car. There is no used parts used on any of our cars. We also build the Shelby 289. We do that in a super performance version, and we have a Shelby version.
All right, Lance, that's a 427. Look at those tires. Are those original?
Yeah, right down to original style, bias by Goodyear billboards, as they affectionately known. This is the CSX 6000. This is actually CSX 6098. Trying real hard to keep this one for myself to add to my GT40 and Daytona coupe. Always wanted a CSX car. I've had a lot of super performances and loved them, but I really want to own one. And this is the one I think I'm going to keep. You could see everything is correct. Fenders correct, side pipes, everything the same as the CSX, right down to the Shelby CSX dash plaque 6098. Shelby gauges throughout the car. This car has the Salisbury style differential in. It's the round tube frame, original Shelby spec. Right down to inside the trunk. Everything is done the way they were back in the 60s.
Got the Shelby logo?
Yeah, there you go.
Tell me about CSX. What does that stand for? I'm kind of curious.
Carroll Shelby Export. You nearly had me there for a second. But,
I got it.
And all Shelby cars built in the 60s had CSX numbers. The only ones that didn't have CSX numbers were the GT40s because they had their GT40 P series number. And when you open the hood, you see the heart of the Shelby. And this is also amazing to behold. It's the big guy. It's the 427 FE sidewheeler. This is the new series from Shelby Engines. It is the aluminum block Shelby with all the correct Shelby stuff built by Shelby Engines for the car. Approximately 560, 570 horsepower, but about 550 pound-foot of torque. And that's what you feel. This engine pulls. It's like a freight train.
How do you keep it on the road?
No, it's, look, the suspension on these cars are really good. And actually, they handle amazing. You've got to be careful. It's a short wheelbase car. You can't just take it for granted. It will bite. It was not called a Cobra for nothing. It is the snake. And you've got to be careful.
It's amazing.
There.
Just amazing. Is this aluminum you said, or is this fiberglass?
No, this is a fiberglass one. We also do them in aluminum, as I said.
And do you do that here in California, or do you outsource that?
The aluminum bodies are brought in from Poland, and shipped to the factory in South Africa or to Las Vegas, Shelby in Vegas, and they're complete either place.
Those side pipes are just incredible. It must. Do they get red hot when this car is running?
If you drive them at night, you can see them glow in the front.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
You can see them glow.
Yeah.
But it's just this is the real Shelby, and it's like owning a piece of history. If you put this in your garage, you can just imagine what it looks like. Nothing compares to what this looks like. You just can't.
And I've always wondered about like these little fender. What's the point of that? The little fender.
They were called quick jacks, and they were only on the race cars. And they actually would come into the pits, and they had a big bar with a jack, and they pushed it in and pulled it down, and that jacked the car up. And it was a quick jack. And that's how they changed the wheels. And you'll see most of the cars had them. The GT40s also have the quick jacks.
I was wondering about that. So that's what so it's not a fender. It's not like that one, which actually has
the street cars all had the roadster, what they call the roadster style bumper, and that was the most popular. That was the most common. But most of the guys made their cars look like the SC versions. Semi-competition is what the SC stood for, and they would put the side pipes on and put the quick jacks on their cars and run them around.
So, what is it about the Cobra that makes it so magical? How come this is probably the most well-known race car in existence?
Yeah, that question has just so many answers. I mean, you just have to walk through the showroom and look at the Cobra shape. It's a shape that'll last forever. I get customers that come in and say, I saw it back in 1962 when Carroll first launched the car. I saw it in 63 when it raced. I saw the first 427 on a Ford showroom floor, fell in love. I was only 13, I was 16, I was 20 years old. And there's one common thing about it. They've wanted that car for 40 years, and in some cases 50 years. And I say to everyone that if you don't get it now, you're going to want it for another 40 years if you could live that long. There are so many cars you liked back in the 60s, 70s, which you probably wouldn't want to own now. But the Cobra is just the shape that'll last forever. It's just absolutely, the lines are beautiful. And what the car did for American road racing, for Ford Motor Company is, it's... History books have been written all about it.
Tell me about your Cobra.
I've had my Cobra now for 8 years.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it when I was a kid, and it happened to be the 40-year anniversary of the Cobra when I was turning 40, and thought it was about the right time to buy one.
And why did you want a Cobra? Is it something you saw as a kid, or what?
I've always loved cars. I've always had muscle cars, and as a kid, the Cobra was the ultimate muscle car.
And is this a car that you drive in the weekend, or is it an everyday driver? How do you use it?
Mostly weekends. Drive it quite a bit for a car of this type. I drive 4,000 or 5,000 miles a year.
It's just a lot for a car of this type. Mm-hmm. It's very raw. What's your favorite part of the car?
The noise and the speed, and the attention.
Yeah, what do people say when they see you in it?
Well, you pretty much get stopped at every stoplight, every gas station. It turns into about a 10-15 minute ordeal, and everybody wants to know what it is, how fast is it, and it's just been a pure joy.
Is it hard to maintain?
It actually, Performance has been an excellent car. I have had virtually zero maintenance on the car. Change oil and tires.
And I see you've got Carroll Shelby's name on the... Did he sign it for you?
Carroll Shelby was actually at a car show that I was attending, and he was nice enough to sign my dash for me.
Yeah, that makes it even more special, I would think.
Yeah, it was a real neat special day. My son was with me, and got to meet Carroll Shelby, and the fact that he signed my car was really, really special.
How old's your son?
He's 20 now.
So does he want this?
Yeah, it's a unique story that not many kids actually have learned how to drive a stick shift in a Cobra. And my son's very first manual car was this car.
Well, Rowan, as you can see, they are incredible underneath. Everything is brand new. You can look, every nut and bolt is brand new in the car. It's built exactly as the original car was done, the round tube frame. We have a couple of modifications to work with the modern stuff. We've got this removable transmission mount,
So you can put a 5-speed or an old 4-speed or even a 6-speed in the car. You can see when you come back here, the Salisbury style differential, all brand new manufactured, half shafts and drive shaft installed. Eric did this installation, and as you can see, it's a great job. It's incredible. The car has the Willwood brakes on now, so your braking is so much better. But all this, these A-arms, everything is done the same as what the car was built back in 1965. It's a true Shelby. It's as real as it can be. And the only difference is you don't have to pay $1 million for it.
I noticed
this has the Shelby aluminum FE engine from Shelby Engine.
Shelby motor.
There it is. A Shelby engine in a Shelby. Don't get better. As you can see, we use Bilstein coilovers. Gives you that better drive, much nicer drive than what the original car. And now we have some sound deadening and we have some heat treatment so you don't get as hot inside.
Cobra on the...
Cobra on the tires, yeah. We do struggle to get 15-inch tires now. They're not as easy to get, so we have to go all over to get tires for the cars.
Now, I go to a lot of Cars and Coffee events, and inevitably there's always a replica Cobra, right? It's always there, or a bunch of them are always there. So what makes your version, besides the fact that it's officially licensed, what makes it better? Talk to me about kind of the mechanicals. I mean, why is yours better than somebody else's?
Well, I think it's basically in the quality.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen guys go so many different routes. The average kit car as such is built with different components. You know, you could get stuff from a Pinto, you could get stuff from anything. Guys buy parts of it. Every super-performance car that was ever built has always been with only new parts. We don't use any reconditioned parts. Anything that most of the parts are manufactured at our factory, but we do buy some OEM parts for the quality. Willwood brakes, 4-piston Willwoods all around. It has coilovers, it has unequal length A-arms all the way around, independent rear suspension with posi traction. We've done all the right stuff. The car comes with oil coolers done in, and we've built to date close to 4,000 Cobras. And you know, in Carol's time, roughly 800, 900 Cobras were built, and we've done just close to 4,000. So the quality has always been there. I see owners, you know, that bring me 13, 14, 15-year-old Superformances that were brand new, around 30,000 all in, and these guys are still selling them today for 50,000. So is any other replica or kit car ever been an investment? No. Are they investments? Not necessarily, but you won't lose money, and that's what the big thing is. Because of the quality, you could go to a 13, 14-year-old Superformance, stand next to it, look at the gaps, look at the paintwork, and absolutely beautiful. Ask any one of the Superformance owners, and they'll tell you, you know, yes, my original paint, my original interior.
So that's all the people?
Yeah, that's all the people at the factory. That's Carol signing one of the first Daytona coupes, Coupe 8, which was my car. Of course, that's how far back I go with Superformance. That was back in 95, 96. I owned one of them in South Africa.
Is that Carol up there?
And that's Carol and my wife.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
You lived a long time.
Yeah, and there's Bob Bonnarand. Bob loved the Daytona coupe. I mean, here's another one of Bob Bonnarand out at the track. The one day out at the track in Vegas, he goes tearing up and down the track, and they thought it's me. And next thing, the security, the track security comes and said, "You've been reckless on the track. You've been going crazy." And I said, "It wasn't me. It was Bob Bonnarand in my car." So I got into trouble for Bob Bonnarand. There's Peter Brock came out to visit us 1 year out of the showroom. We announced 2 years ago that we can do for the 50th anniversary of the 1962 slab-side Cobra. Shelby would offer 50 special editions that people could get, commemorative editions. And the first prototype was built at Shelby in Las Vegas and showed around the country. And then the next 49 were built by us. And this is number one of the fiberglass cars. This was built for a Canadian owner, Angelo, and he's really looking forward to getting it when he's allowed me to show it. The little car is beautiful, the wire wheels, everything done correct. He went the next level. He actually put the FIA style engine in with the Webers.
Wow.
And that just looks so trick. It's absolutely amazing.
And slab-sided refers to the fact that it's kind of slab-sided, obviously.
Yeah, it was the nickname for the car, the little slab-sided fenders, flat fenders. Eventually, when they
braced the car, they rolled out the fenders and widened them so that they could put the bigger tires on. But that was the little slab side Cobra picture. It's just the prettiest Cobra. It's just a great little car.
Do your buyers race them, or are they buy them to cruise around on a Sunday, or both?
I would say we probably only got about 10-15% that race the cars.
Yeah.
Most of our buyers, just love to drive them. They weekend fun cars. It's a weird phenomenon is that the Californian drivers with the most incredible weather drive them less than the guys back east.
So tell me the price point. What did the car start at, and kind of where did they top out at?
Okay, the Superformance rolling chassis, complete, painted, trimmed, with all the electrics in, basically hook up a battery, everything works, your lights work, the whole work, tires, wheels, exhaust, headers, the whole car starts around $49,000 as a rolling chassis. On average, depending on whether you go Coyote, 302, 351 Windsor, 427, it will be from $69,000, $70,000 onwards. If you have an installer do it for you, if you do it yourself, you can take it away as it is and do it at home. And we've had many owners do it and love doing it. It's a little father and son project. Great project. You got something that's safe to start with, built properly, and all you're doing is the engine, the transmission, and the fun part. None of the tedious stuff like wiring and cutting panels and making stuff. But Shelby cars start at $79,000, depending on the options you go with, and go from there.
Your baby, what's it like to drive it?
Oh, it's stunning, man. It's just so much fun. I never get tired of this. I've been doing this now 13 years and it just never gets old.
I mean, that sound is phenomenal.
Sooner or later I'll have to grow up and get a real job, but I'm going to hold on as long as I possibly can.
I don't know, Carol managed it his whole life.
Oh yeah.
You could probably do the same thing.
I aim to do that.
Oh, there we go. Now you kind of loose. I can't believe this. I am sitting in a car that is iconic. This car is based on the 1968 GT40 Mark I, the race car that dominated, just dominated the racing world. And, well, check it out next on the Fast Lane Car.